the recording. So just to outline today, I'm going to introduce iMovie and talk about your 3-minute or different commands. And even though I'm showing it in iMovie, the concepts translate to Premiere in PCs. And there are certainly other softwares that have a lot of bells and whistles. If you remember, Rachel's from last semester was the animated one. She was using all the, much more sophisticated stuff. But this does exactly what we need. So we'll introduce that, and then I'll go into how to, some thoughts about PDFs, and then how to animate how to bring your PDFs into iMovie for transitions and the like. So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, first I need to open up iMovie again. Like I said, I was practicing this morning. I had been using quite a bit of iMovie in the last couple of years for a project, for my sabbatical work. It takes a minute for iMovie to start. It's bouncing. There it goes. Well, where'd it go? Mr. iMovie. Now, I'm getting some prompts. Okay, so let me share the screen. And I'm using a video clip I took in the rainstorm the other day. So, application screen. So first you'll get an intro. Oh wait, there we go. Of all the new things in iMovie, and then you click through and you come to this page. And if you don't, hit projects up top menu bar. Hit create new project, and you're doing a movie. Those I've never used trailer. There's no reason to. So this looks complicated, but it really isn't. At the bottom, we have a kind of timeline. It's your material as a horizontal bar. Upper right, you got a preview screen, and then you've got what's called your media on the left. You can use this or not. Meaning I could go up to my file and hit import media and bring it into iMovie. But I could also click and drag. So I'm going to go to the folder where my video clip is. And I'm using an MOV file because I shot it with an iPhone. So it comes in pretty immediately because it's X-referencing. It's not actually in this file. And it's in just like all of Mac stuff, it's as dumb and as visual as possible. So there's my media. I hit it and drag it. There's a slider here which allows me to shrink it or increase it, just in terms of micromanaging. It's just about the DPI as you're working on it. It really doesn't change anything other than your timeline here down below. And it doesn't really change anything. It's still the same content. It's just stretched out further. So that's kind of nice. So in the preview, I could hit play. And that's the whole rainstorm the other day with exactly when the sleet started coming down. All right, so this forms the spine, the major member of this timeline. If I wanted to clip it, I move it to wherever I'd like, and you can see it in the preview upper right, where you might clip it. Let's say you wanted to shorten it, or you wanted to insert something in between. Okay, so you go to modify, and I always do split clip. You can use trim, which means it's going to take away everything to the left of that. But by using split clip, I could choose to highlight that beginning and delete it if I'd like. So I can insert content anywhere along here and just do this similarly by moving my cursor and sliding this vertical across the imagery as it previews in upper right. Cool, 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 cool. Okay. I'm selecting the position more or less to add text. So I go to where my media is, but they provide you media too. So if I want to put text, I hit titles. There's my media, audio, titles, backgrounds, transitions. So I hit a title. And then I get this whole menu of options. Some are more exciting than others. Some are plain goofy. And it's to place words, but it also, depending which one you choose, will move. If you just do centered, it's just centered and shows up. If you do, let's do overlap. So I double clicked it and it inserted it where I want it to be. Okay. And then in my preview window, upper right, I'm given a text box where I can enter my text. And I'm going to put help. I can change the color of that. I can make it bold. Change the font. Help me. Okay. Let's play it. So that's the effect. It splits apart. Oh, here, let's watch it from the beginning. It comes and it splits. If I want, so you notice that there's a bubble that attaches itself where I initiated it, and it lives on top of my major timeline. I can click it and move it if I don't like where it landed. I could set it earlier, I could set it later. Cool. That's if I use my cursor towards the center of the bubble. If I hit the bubble on its perimeter, you see the cursor changes to two arrows that'll visually let me make it longer or shorter. So I can extend that text to last 8 seconds on the video, or I could shorten it by just moving it visually. I don't have to enter numbers. And when it's highlighted, I can move it. And so again, if I grab it by the perimeter, I can alter the time. Cool. So that's essentially how to add text. But let's do another effect. You can have things, there's some of these, let's do a zoom. And so I double-clicked it and inserted it. Oh, it's a dumb effect. Okay, but that's okay. This is just a help me. Here comes the rain. So we could. So with my cursor, I could dictate where I want to start the preview. I could hit the space bar and it'll play. All right. So that didn't really do much, but that's okay. Maybe that's what I wanted. Cool, 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 cool. Now, I loaded my movie into here, but I could also just, sorry, I'm just going to put an image in there. Let's say I just want a still image. I've got a folder here with sorry. I have everything saved in a folder here on my desktop. And where is that? It's called there it is. Okay, if I could also just, there it goes. I could also just click and drag an image, let's say a perspective. Well, this is your 3-minute movie, so whatever it is, you know, if you had a still portraits of an interviewee or an image of nature or a butterfly, you know, you could just click and drag that image in. And the default is it'll last 3.5 seconds. While highlighted with the yellow, I could extend that to be longer. Or I could, just like I did with the text, I could adjust the time through this double cursor. All right. So you notice it's giving a little bit of a zoom effect. Double click it, and I could choose what I could just make it still, saying fit. I could crop it to fill the full frame. So that's my frame proportion. Or I could do Ken Burns. Ken Burns is the famous PBS documentarian who did the movie, those series on, who did the recent one on Hemingway, most famous for his Civil War series. And a Ken Burns effect is great. I could choose to start, fill the frame and start it at the top. And I could adjust the ending and, ooh, there it goes. Fill the frame. So that this would be a panning. We would start at the top and move to the bottom. So let's preview that. So that's very helpful, you know, if you wanted to show a perspective. Or let's double click it again. I could do a zoom in, zoom out. I could make my endpoint an object within the perspective and fill the frame to start the perspective. And let's preview that. I don't have to write any code. It's just visual frame to frame. I could choose to start small, and well, let's do that. I could flip this well, there should be a, and make the ending the bigger frame, and the beginning start at like in a window or something, if that's what you have. And so it allows you to pan, it allows you to zoom with the exact same tools. It's just how you choose to use them. So that's kind of cool. So I started small and I'm zooming out. In this, I could adjust the still with rotation, but that's silly. You guys know how to do that in Photoshop. So prepare, flip it to the orientation you'd like. So that was Ken Burns, crop to fill, where it would just stay still. And if you want the whole image and you don't mind black to the left and right, you do fit to fit everything in. Fill to fill the whole frame. Ken Burns to play around. And it's a big bang for the buck. So you don't have to do anything other than set 2 frames. Nice. Now, this just kind of transitions abruptly. You can add a transition, and that's one of the nicest things about this is you can, and there's again, you go to the upper left, your media, and they have pre-designed transitions. You could do silly ones where it spins in. You could do blurs and fades, circles, and when you slide over it, you're getting a preview of the essential effect to the right in your preview window. So the circle one, all right, let's use that one. I tend to use the simpler ones, like the blurs. But let's do circle open and circle close. I just hit it, and I click and drag, ding ding da dong, and play it. And there's the transition. Let's do the same for the transition here. So it's going to open the circle and close the circle. And like everything else, I could, and the transitions will live in between your breaks. And if you need a break to review that again, you set your cutter, your vertical, and hit modify split clip. And it splits it into 2. I can undo that. So I was saying, you could, if 1/8 of a second is too quick of a transition for you, ooh, you could expand that. What did I just do? Okay, I kind of zoomed in there. Oh, here, you double click it. Actually, this one you need to, it's easier to input it on in this case. And you might have a number of transitions throughout your video. You might have 10. And maybe you decide after watching everything you want to increase all the transitions. You could do that 6 and then apply to all rather than going into each individual one. So how do we do that? Double click it, the window pops up, you input seconds and decimal seconds, and you either hit apply to that single transition or to all the transitions. Okay. Emily already started hers, and she found some content on YouTube. Many people shot their own last semester, not everyone. And there are other sites, and I reached out to someone from last semester who knew, and they did not get back to me. But you could just try Googling. So that covers the basics, and we'll come back to this iMovie in a minute. So let's go to InDesign for a minute. I assume everyone's creating their PDFs in InDesign and knows not to do it in Photoshop or something like that. So I created a format for myself with a key plan, supporting materials in a major view. Okay, but I could also zoom in without using, yes, question.
I'm not sure if anyone else can see the same.
Oh, you're right. I got to share that screen. Ha ha ha. Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't sharing my screen. I was sharing application. So that's my fault. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I got to close out of that one. And let's pop into application window for, well, maybe it's just easier if I share my screen and then I don't have to go back and forth. There it goes. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm in InDesign, created content, but let's say I wanted to zoom in or introduce things piece by piece. Okay, so I made I mocked up some examples, and let me open up, let's do this as a list. So this is Corbusier's Villa Savoie. So we were just looking at this one. Let me make it bigger. Ooh, beach ball. There it goes. So we were looking at that. And let's say I wanted to call attention to something. I could put a circle or put text. And then zoom into what I want to zoom into. So that's something to think about. And we'll play through that in a minute. And I have another example in here with a section. So what I do, I've become a huge fan of Acrobat Pro in terms of organizing materials. So I'm going to create a multi-page PDF. Which you guys all know, but I'll show you the effect you can achieve. And do I want to add another one? Okay, that's good. And let's bring that the living room stuff in. So you guys don't remember light tables, but with your 35 millimeter Kodachrome, you lay out the content of your lecture on a light table, kind of like this. And the terrace is already PDF'd. And then I had a bathroom. Oh, I didn't. Okay. So one could have the same image multiple times. I mean, you make that effort to create that view. You can layer that view. And not just rely on words. And you'll talk through it, and it's like, here's my section, and if you look towards the center, here's the gallery, and here's a view of the gallery. The theater's down below, and here's a view of the theater. Let's take a look at the living room. My key plan, sketch, materials. I'd like to draw your attention to a famous chaise lounge chair. And, I mean, that could be a full bleed, but even with dumb PDFs, you can start creating a narrative, a storyline.
It reminds me of like a flip book, and you like keep turning the pages and it keeps moving.
That is so perfect, Emily. Yes, exactly. And I've been trying to get students to do this in like fourth semester, and it like befuddles them. But flipbook is a great metaphor. Oh my God, Emily, thank you. That's the perfect metaphor.
No problem.
No, it's a good one. And so let's get back to iMovie. So let's say you do have these dumb PDFs, and like you could even take it one step further. Oh, this stupid thing. There it goes. I got too many things open. There's iMovie. So let's put our project in the rain. I'm now conflating two things: the 3-minute video and your presentation. And your video might be a walkthrough of your entire building, and then you clip it where you want to stop and call attention to a program area. So I'm going to stop right there. I moved my slider, my my vertical chopper, and go up to modify, split clip. Okay. And then over here, I'm going to do maybe a little further, modify, split clip. And I think that's enough. Okay, and then I'm just gonna click and drag, because you don't need to bring it into the software, because it's nice and dumb. Let me see if I can bring multiples in. Oh, I can. Oh, I gotta show you how to put music in there. Ha ha ha. Okay. And then we'll put the living room stuff. There it goes. So you're just visually finding that cut and clicking and dragging that in. Oh, and I got to do narration too. Okay. So I just add in this case, I'm going to do dissolve. And I just put it between the two. Okay. Put it between the two. Okay. Put it between the two. And it's okay if they're all the same transition. You don't have to, I wouldn't use 10 different transitions. Some of them pair up nicely, the circle in, circle out. Maybe just. But in this case, I want to reduce my transition time, because they're not radical transitions. So I'm going to reduce it. I'm going to double click it and bring it back down and bring it to 4 seconds. or 3.5 is the norm, and apply to all. Okay. So that was pretty easy. That took like a minute. And then I could be talking here. I might want to increase the time each. Oh, I just want to stop. I want to make these all fit to print. Fit fill frame. So I double click it. Fill. Double click it. Fill. Double click it. Oh, I fit. Or just click it once, and it depends how responsive. Select it, choose, select it, choose, select it, choose. Okay. Play. It's a little slow, those transitions, but you can see in the preview. Oh, I'm sorry. There it goes. Yeah, I might make those transitions faster. So double click. Let's just make it 1 second. Apply to all. I might extend the time on each of these by selecting and holding the perimeter and pulling out. Okay. So we covered transitions. Let's add music. Let's add some sound. They provide you some sound. It takes a second to load. There it goes. So our text lives at the top of the spine. Our sound will live at the bottom of the spine. I'm going to do acoustic sunrise. I select it and I drag it. And then it'll anchor itself approximately where you want it. Oh, where'd it go? It should. Let's try that one more time. There it goes. I needed to pull it lower so you see the anchor, that green stem at the upper left-hand corner of that bubble. That's cool. While it's highlighted, I could choose to clip it. I could stretch it and make it go slower, or I could pull it to the left and make it go faster. But I'm going to clip it because I just want the music there. So I place it where I want it and modify split. So it's split it into two, and then I highlight the one I don't want and hit delete. Bingity bong. So let's look at the music. I can move it by just highlighting it, and how do I do? Yeah, you want your cursor within the box, and you can while looking at that stem, attach it along that. All right. So you could add your own music. You could use some of theirs. Last time I had the airplane taking off. Okay. Now let's go here. And if you want to add your own recording within iMovie, instead of recording it in another software and then pulling it in as we did this jingle, you can hit, so in the preview, go to the upper right, there's a mic, you hit the mic, and you get these controls. You can adjust the volume, but you need to tell it where the sound is coming from. Built-in microphone, okay. So I have my settings. I might make the volume a little louder, okay. And with this check, it'll mute any sound that might, if I wanted to voice over the music, it'll turn down the sound in the music if you have that checked. Okay, so you hit the record. Oh wait, let's get the cursor here. No, well, hello, cursor there. There it goes. And ready, set, hit the red button. It'll count down to, hello, this is my section. I'd like you to look at the gallery. Here's a view of the gallery. And now let's move to the theater. Let's take a look at that theater. Okay. So that's pretty much what it for today, or what I had in mind. Of course, the tools are slightly different in other softwares, but Premiere is fairly similar in terms of how to use it, how to add clips. This is recorded, so classmates can watch this. Some of you might already know this. Like Emily's already worked with iMovie, so she's already figured all this out.
I came for the animation part.
Yeah, the PDF thing is kind of cool. I like that idea of a flip book. Exactly. I mean, you do all that work to get that view, and then you know,
I might reconsider
you can
Prezi.
always zoom in. Yeah, it's like Prezi, you know, or you could just use Prezi.
I have to think about it and have a weekend to do it.
Yeah, something to think about.
Can you clip your voice too? Like hypothetically, like if I'm talking, I screw up, can I clip the voice and then start from where I started?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You just highlight it, and then you go up to modify, clip.
Yeah.
You always select it first so that the yellow lights up.
Yeah.
And you could always move it. If, like I started talking too soon, I could move that bubble in relationship to the visuals. But the visuals are your anchor, and so everything kind of tags on to that. And you choose your own music. You could go into your music library.
Or download from YouTube.
or download from YouTube, or buy from iTunes, or play your own music that with your own guitar. Carolyn.
Um, is our video like strictly 3 minutes? Like it can't be more or less, or can we go like a little bit under 3 minutes or a little bit over 3 minutes?
Yeah, yeah. It's just that when it gets to 5, you've lost everyone.
Okay.
And a minute and a half is too short.
Yeah. Okay.
So about 3, but most people were a little more than 3. I would say 75% of the people were like 3 minutes plus.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right, I gotta take a quick break. I could come back in 3 minutes, but I need I need to run. So I'll be right back.
Okay.
If you need a question. Sorry about that. When nature calls. See, when that happens on your end, I'm not unaware. So, any questions about the 3-minute movie in general? Most people have already started. No questions. Okay.
Wait, I have a question.
Good.
So I know the video is going to be like our first, essentially. We're going to show the video and then we're going to get into our discussion. And I know a walkthrough isn't required, but it's like highly encouraged. Where would you putting a walkthrough in the presentation? Would we save that to the end, even if it's not going to be like a full building walkthrough, or should we put it adjacent to the rendered space that we're trying to do a walkthrough for?
I would insert it so it doesn't feel segregated.
Okay.
Just like you look at the perspective and you talk about your materials.
Mm-hmm.
You then turn and say, I also have an animation of this space, and let's turn to that.
Okay.
But here's the key, though: if there's sound, you've got to put your animations and your 3-minute videos up onto YouTube or Vimeo in order to get the audio.
Okay.
Yeah, by just sharing your screen, it's just going to be listening to your mic, and you're depending on the mic to pick it up, which is it's not going to work if you're producing something nice. So everyone last semester put it up on YouTube, but there are other platforms. You know, if you have your own website. But the trick is in Blackboard, you got to be using Chrome, and then when you go to share that tab, you have to hit Share Audio in the lower left. And yeah, how about if everyone just does that right now so you know where it is? Hit Share Application Screen, and then you've got a choice of your entire screen, an application window, or a Chrome tab. Hit the Chrome tab.
You have
and then
participants, so we can't see the sharing option.
No, oh, you're all participants. Ha ha ha. Let me just change all that. I'll make you all presenters because you should know about, and I mentioned this again in class. Not that we have that many classes left. And maybe what I should do is take a screenshot for everyone, although it's being recorded now. Okay. So if you go to share content, then hit share application screen. You'll see, if you do that, you'll see you have entire screen, application window, and Chrome tab. So hit Chrome tab, and before you hit anything, go to the lower left and hit share audio. And then hit the tab that you are looking to share. You know, you would have to have YouTube opened and kind of queued up. You know, don't have it playing, have it ready to start, and then hit that, and then you'll be able to then hit your start button. So that's the only trick, is that you're sharing the Chrome tab and you're sharing, got to hit share audio. And so it's nothing complicated. It's just that even I forget sometimes, particularly with my history course, where I'm jumping between my PDFs and different YouTube clips or Memo clips. So for your 3-minute intro, it could involve some stills that you just weave together through iMovie and combine with other content. You can use the text within iMovie, or you can put text on your JPEGs, let's say, and bring them in. So there's no one way to skin a cat. Melissa's video last year with the painting on the mirror and shattering, she added her voice after. It wasn't like the video had some street sounds and then she narrated over. And there's tons of softwares out there. You don't have to have the fanciest. All the basic videos softwares are fine for this. You don't need text bouncing around your floor plan, you know, in some sort of dance rhythm, or words that break up into different floor plans. You could do that with much more sophisticated software, but not within what we're using. And you see the communications department does all that, and they're pretty amazing, where their text morph into uh, scenes. Oh, it's now 2 o'clock. I promised I wouldn't keep everyone. Yeah, it's totally. It's I'm a Mac guy because I could be a dummy. And then once I get onto something, I stay on that horse. So yeah, like Emily taught herself in a couple hours.
Probably a couple of seconds. Literally, there was a video on YouTube that was less than 4 minutes, and I just went along with it.
Yeah, Carolyn just mentioned After Effects. That's the one that you can do so much more with. But if you're familiar with it, that's great. If you have to learn it in an hour, good luck.
Yes, I rather learn how to do a presentation like really nicely than video, which doesn't have to be 3 minutes of our lives versus like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, I was going to get After Effects at what for a project I was working on because I thought I needed it. It's like iMovie does so much. It's really um, a big bang for the buck. So
Yeah, my sister uses After Effects, and she said it took a while for her to learn, but like now she makes a bunch of like videos with it. But she tried to teach me, and it was really difficult. There's like so many shortcuts with the keys. I don't think I'd be able to pick it up quick enough for this video.
yeah, it's a very powerful software.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I discuss these things with like the people in communications because I had a project, where I was projecting and yeah, oh, After Effects, you'll love After Effects, and I was like, oh, too much, too much. My head is only so big.
I just think for the video this size and just the fact that we're not like the video doesn't have to be like professionally made because it's only 3 minutes. Like if it just like it doesn't really make sense, just do what you can and then really make your presentation shine.
But it comes out very professional, you
All
know.
I'm saying is like it doesn't have to be like for me personally, I just feel like it doesn't have to be like look like a movie that came out in theaters, like a trailer or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't need all that other stuff, but you really don't.
Yeah, I found everything on YouTube. You want me to show mine? Like if you like as or
Sure, if that's okay with you.
Wait,
I mean,
I have a question, Emily, if you don't
yeah,
mind.
sure.
Do you have to download a specific app to download the videos for YouTube, or can you do it directly
Okay,
from?
so there's it's cool. So my friend actually does videos. That's her like job. So gave me a website. Cool. Let me find her. It's called YouTube to MP4. It's the top one if you type it. Yeah, that's it. Me. Um, and basically all you do is you can convert music to an MP3, to an MP4. So it'll go right onto your desk. I'll download, go right onto your desktop, and then you can put it into. You can just drag it into your movie and then cut it up.
Oh, perfect. Sounds easy.
You can also
Yeah,
do a screen grab where you record your screen.
you can do that too. I
But
know.
you would get better DPI your way.
Hmm.
But at the
So
same time, if you're grabbing from your screen,
also, if
it
there's
doesn't need to be
audio
much bigger.
and video, you can also take that out. Also in iMovie, there's a little sound button on top, and you just can mute it. So I mean,
Uh-oh.
mine black and white to color, so you can do like black and white or colorful or different types of filters if you want. So there's that too.
That's true. I don't think iMovie has filters where you can
iMovie
make
has
it
filters.
where you can make it go from black and white to color.
I did that for mine.
Oh, cool. Okay, then I've never thought needed it, so I never looked into it.
You can do that. Yeah, there's It's pretty easy to do. I mean, if I can learn it, anyone can learn it.
Yeah. Well, you learned some pretty crazy stuff, though. You're being very humble.
No, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Not that hard.
All right. And guys, feel free to always get together with each other. You could always go into our session classroom without using some other app. Um, Particularly at this point in the semester, it's kind of nice to talk to each other. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go take a little break and then back to work. And so we're gonna do a session, not this week, but 2 weeks from today. We'll show each other our intro movies. So maybe at the end of each the Monday session, all of Monday will show their movies, and then at the end of Thursday, everyone can show their movie, sign back on, and show each other their movies. And of course, each section is invited to. I'm afraid of making a separate day because not everyone's schedules jive. For some reason, we were able to do that last semester, but you guys are a little more spread out. So the idea is to have your movie essentially done in not this week, but the following week. So, all right, back to work, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I'll share this.
Bye, Johannes.
Bye. You didn't have any questions.
I'm in the middle of eating.